Welcome everyone. Will start our lesson 4. Today lesson will go through LO4. As you know me, my name is Anjum Setter. If you
Yeah.
have any questions, drop me email anjum@ukversity.co.uk and I'll try my best to get back to you as soon as possible. Today lesson is about understand the area of law affecting the business and the professional operation, and that will be the key. And 4.1, which will look at the requirement of the data protection legislation, GDPR. Before in the UK used to be DPA, which is called Data Protection Act 1998. It's been replaced to 2018 GDPR. Whenever we log in any website, we have to give consent, accept cookies. Otherwise, you can't log in and move to the next page. So that, and they have the 7 principles under the data protection legislation, which is the key. Of course, any profession we deal with the clients and the data, and we have to protect. Okay, intellectual property right. Of course, that can be registered the brand and other those we need to be look around. We look around the legislation relating to employment. We can look around Equality Act 2010 in law is everyone equal. It shouldn't be discriminated based on race, religion, and belief. That's quite crucial. Intellectual property rights for the businesses. Of course, you created a brand and somebody copy your and look around that can be so we can register with and even we can protect it. It's your right. So we can look around today lesson is data protection, intellectual property rights, and employment laws. And we'll go through dismissal, constructive, unfair, and we'll go through the term and condition. There can be express term and there can be implied term in a contract. Express term is you can write in the contract, and implied term which is implied by law. So those we look in under the employment, and the contract is a crucial. There is offer and acceptance under the contract law, and we can look around the 5 elements in the contract should be, and that's. Okay, so why do we need to be data protection? Of course, this is quite crucial. Imply the record, customer detail, loyalty scheme, any transaction, the data collection. We can look around the protecting them, and we don't need excessive data like asking their children what they will do, where that's the excessive data. And we data and like HMRC perspective, up to 6 year data really we need to keep the record of. Uh, you want to claim something or the outstanding liability can be. Of course, if the authorities want to go beyond that, go through. We obtain the process fairly, hopefully the transparently. We need to be look around explicit and lawful purposes. We need to be look around and be adequate, relevant, not excessive. So that's we need to be accurate and kept up to date. Be kept for no longer than the necessary for specific, and be processed into secure manner. That's which we need to be look around. These are 6 important principle of data protection, or we can say 7 principle. It used to be 8 principle because some of them is merged together. So that's which we need to be under the new data protection, which is GDPR 2018. Okay, under please is a good information. We need to be, if anyone want any information, we have a right to ask. Like you want a tax record, and there is a £10 fee under GDPR 2018 and DPA 1998. You can get by paying £10 without even SAR, subject access request, all the information whatever the authority is holding about you. The law allow you to collect all information like immigration file, like HMRC record, like doctor record, and various other. If you lost your document and you think and this is biggest business in the UK, lot of company earn the money just for the sake of this information. Payment protection insurance being missold with the credit card, debit card, and the mortgages. So those can be as a business, and they're keeping 40% money of the client. Okay, so intellectual properties is the something that we creating using the mind. For example, story and invention, any work nowadays. Of course, online, Tomcat, or any other digital assets. We have the worth of, and we know the asset is mean anything owned by and which will flow the future economics benefit is your asset. So we can look around intellectual property rights, that can be your intangible asset and which can be shown in the book of account. And we said accounts need to be true and fair. That's, which we can. So copyright, patent, design, that's the only the problem, how you can measure. So when we say asset, measure reliably and which will flow the future economic benefit. If that not flow the future economic benefit, it's not come under the definition about asset. So we have to use our uh, asset definition, and we have to think about, can we add it asset in the book of account or not. Okay, when we look the employment laws, we go together law, the legislation, working time. No, we have a flexi time, of course, is a law allow you, and the employer give you the flexi time as long it is viable for the business. Minimum wage, of course, we know the national minimum wage law. We know the Finance Act 2024-25, national minimum wage going to 20, uh, 12 pound and 25 pence. Health and Safety Act 1974, Child Care Equality Act 2010, trade union, of course, we can't discriminate if anyone join the trade union. Pension, that's other, the portal, lot of things being changed when you withdraw, not used to be taxable, lot of in the tax rules is changed. So we need to be further deep dive into specific area if you want to work, the contract employment dismissal, residency. Of course, 1 week salary based on the year completion. That's by law, timed by the age factor. If you're 40 plus, time by 3. So the residency money we pay, and we can't pick the people based on you will be redundant. That can be lead to the discrimination act as well. That's why company do voluntary redundant instead of forcefully redundant to someone. So analyze the requirement of the data protection, the consent to the subject, the processing, the performance of the contract, the data. That's why it's important processing the necessary compliance, like in the record of invoices and various other the audit record and others. We need to be looking around the performance of the task carried out in the public interest. Okay, so a lot of legislation whatsoever it can be supersede when it's come public interest. Yes, whatever even law we have, but if the government thinks this is not in the public interest, it can be. So because the UK law is more based on the case laws. Okay, the purpose of the legitimate interest to pursue controlled by third parties, except where your interest is our ridden, and we can look around the interest and the freedom. So please, under FO, a Freedom of Information Act, which we mentioned in the previous lesson, personal data is any information about individual. They're capable to identifying the individual, like date of birth, the national insurance number. Sensitive information, any information relating to the individual ethnicity, religious belief, that's also which we need to be look around. Mental health issue, conditions, we need to be make sure secure. And what is the data protection is about the avoiding the harm of individual by misusing or mismanaging their personal data. If collecting, use, and store the personal data, we need to be make sure. Okay, only collect the information for the specific purposes and don't then use for other purposes. So only collect what you need to be specific purposes. So keep accurate, yes, process information. So what is the GDPR? We earlier said is the General Data Protection, which is 25th May in 2018 being, and that's, is becoming, and before that, because that's under the European Union. And now, of course, we are looking Data Privacy Act as well. So strengthen the rights and the individual and the places of the obligation. In order to comply, you must, legitimate reason for processing the data. You can't move the data outside the UK without the consent of ICO. If you want to become a member of IFA, you have to apply ICO certificate, and data processing activity must be started privacy by design and default subject access request. Of course, we can, as we mentioned earlier, the mandatory. Okay, if you breach the data protection, it can be fined 10% of the turnover. So like, the Facebook been for 14 million, and if we can look around, that's ICO says if the fast, what are the potential fines much greater than present up to 4% of the annual global turnover. Yes, 4% of annual global turnover. It's not mean only the turnover in the UK. That turnover all over the world, 4% to their Facebook or its turnover are 20 million, 4% of 20 million can be fine you. So that, and even will be bad press have impact, the share price as well. Okay, GDPR, lawful, fairness, transparency, purposeful legitimation, data minimization, accuracy, storage limitation. You can't store more than certain period. Integrity, confidentiality is very important, and accountability. You will be accountable if you not comply. Okay, so please, if any question, you can ask. Very welcome. Okay, so data controller is the person in the organization determine how the data and the data processing. So you can become a data controller in the organization, and data processor is the person organization who take and three action the personal data you control might be third party acting on the behalf of course, sometimes it's a back office and any other. The personal data including the data protection officer, DPO, is the specific role, the legal requirement in the many organizations in the large church bodies or NCIs or various others. We need to be look around. Can I still, process the personal data? Do I need to be consent? Of course, we have to look around. That's accepting cookies. It mean you're giving the consent. That's why the messages carry on coming in your mailbox or in the search, for the performance of the contract. That's why you need compliance purpose. You need information. Another person interest, subject to the exercise official authorities in the public interest and the legitimate. So that's, all we need to be looking at. Okay, then for 4.2, please, we need to be look around the intellectual property rights as we discuss IP. By law, for example, patent, copyrights, and trademark, the person earn the recognition of the financial benefit from what is invented and created. For many years research and somebody can copy your, so that's, it's very difficult nowadays because we are on internet, ideas and sharing, but it's still you can protect your, and that can be registered with internationally or locally. Copyrights, writing, art, photography can be design, shapes, and subject. You can trademark, of course, your logos, which can be yes, time followed for application. We can apply IP, which is the intellectual property rights. Application you can, and you can give that. You want to protect, and there is a fees involved. The patents, around 5 years invention and the product machines and parts can be registered, and that's how the copyright protected your work. Copyright your work and the stop others using without your permission. If you're not giving permission and they using it, it can be goes like even on the YouTube the video, if you're are you saying it's yours but actually someone else, even like a people being in PhDs and various others, the content they reset sound and music recording and the film, that's is a huge. Of course you can mark your work with the copyright symbols. Yes, that's which we can use C and your name and your year of site creation, and whether you mark the work or not doesn't affect the level of protection you have. So copyright protection, copyright prevents from the people copying your work. Of course, be free of charge for the sale, rendering, lending the copies of your work and performing. So please, that's you can create. And it's the country copyright last minimum life of plus 50 years. Most of the types of the written dramatic and test work or various the photographs. We can look around the copyrights. Yes, these are we can registered, and how long we can protect. How long copyright usually lasts 70 years after the author's death. Yes, that's huge. Broadcast 50 years, 25 years. Of course, a lot of things is that in real world is difficult, but the law says we have we can promote, but authorities and various other part of the world is not patenting your invention. Of course, patents, copyrights again. Your invention must be all of the following. Something can be made to you new or inventive. So simple modifications, patents are expensive. We can look around you what you can't patent. uh, Literacy, dramas, musical or artwork, work doing the business, playing games, thinking. Some of it's not mean invention, some other doing it. Or if you saying this is the work I'm getting the idea from, That's why the reference in academic world is very important. Digital assets, of course, now becoming very, very important, and it can be £1,000,000 businesses and protect, important of digital assets, intellectual property rights, implement to which is we can apply for and managing the right, and access. That's which we can for that. Remedies for unlawful use. Yes, please. That's, it can be various cause damages, your if you do and it goes and it can be bad press. Civil remedies can be criminal remedies, imprisonment, administrative remedies, and their fines need to be paid. And some of the relevant question: why should I protect my intellectual property rights? Many things you have to ask the question. Is a strong brand you spend, like COVID-19 vaccine, and you spend years and years to do research, or the months you did, and you spend, billions to do. And if you not protected, anyone can copy and make the medicine. It can be eliminate your competitive advantage. That's why you have to carrying out the intellectual property right audit. Yes, of course, you carry on anyone, and of course you can do online search as well. If someone using, you can go against with the value of the asset. It can be if those are not protected, and we can look around the impairment of the goodwill or patent or copyright intangible asset. So that can be revalued if we uh, because we're not giving the true and fair information to client. Patent protecting inventions, of course, which we can property office, we can patents are granted only by invention that are not currently under the patent. If anyways, that's you can. It's your trademark we can protect as well, like McDonald's. You can't use McDonald's without that's the McDonald intellectual property. Right, so three-dimension object, design the right provide automatic, protections for the appearance of the three-dimension object. So you have to look around within the law again. So there can be many section of it, but please, just a simple for our law in the in accounting perspective. So if you have your business in account, are you member of, and you create something, the system, the copyright or original work, we can protect the skill of creative, which can include the website contents, instruction manual, protecting your rights overseas. IP protection is territorial and is usually only applicable to the specific region of the country if the country not signed. Countries have the similar IP laws to UK, and applying to IP protection abroad is often is a straightforward, which we can look around those in when you're dealing with it. 4.3 access, legislation related to employment. When we say employed and self-employed, that's Uber taxi in the UK. The case went to the court, and then court decided because the app is controlled by drivers, and that's they should become under the employed. And then of course we can look around the discrimination laws, equality law, dismissal. All these are redundant. So please, we included a little mind map here. Employment law we can explore, employer rights, employment rights, the health and safety. Employer responsibility should provide all the safe environment, provide safety shoes, glasses, and all. If not providing, then it's the employer fault. If employer provide, employees not wearing, it's the employee's fault. Health and safety is it's a two-way process. The type of employment, employees and self-employed. Self-employed is mean you that rates can be, but if it's the implied national minimum wage, it's Employment Right Act. We have a lot of laws being merged together is to Equality Act 2010, and that's please which is update version of the legislation. If you want to be specific, the implies certain right, such as the right not to be unfairly dismissal. That's equal pay. Yes, if the gender pay gap, mm, females and the males and ethnicity earning less than that, even they have the same role. That is a discrimination act, the working time regulation 1998. You can't really an average work 40 limit of the hours of the work to an average 48 weeks, and it's also give the right to be 4 weeks paid leave, a year at the one day off each week, at least under this legislation, which we can employment give the parent of the children under the 17 disabilities, children under the 18 right to request flexible working hours, yeah, which is we mentioned flexible working hours like national minimum wage is also 1998, which we can please this is the old one which we can explore gov.uk, whichever year you're looking, please just carry on changing. And of course, this is can be arguable. At the moment is £11 44. Of course, you look the age bracket which one we fall, and that's which we need to be look around accordingly, please. Okay, the statutory redundant pay, as we mentioned, half a week pay for each full years you are under 22 or 22, 1 week pay for each full year 22 or older but under 41, 1.5 week pay for each full years you are 41 or older, 1.5. Yes, length of the service is capped to 20 years, so you can get 20 years, and your weekly pay is the average you earn per week over 12 weeks before the day you got your redundancy notice. Please other here which they voluntary as well, not just one. So that's again we can look around if you're 50 plus and all. So the continuous month employment, 1 month and 2 years, 1 week and 2 to 12 years, 1 week for completed years, and 12 plus. Within that there are the few changes happen. So again, please we can consult gov.uk because of the parliament laws is carry on changing. Sometimes it's difficult to be up to date as long you not deal with it daily basis. So please you can consult those, and we need to be look around. Of course, hours and all, so you don't need to be break the law. Yes, short term and temporary layoff, more than 4 weeks row, 6 months consecutive weeks in 13 weeks, you can employer does not reject your claim 7 days receiving right your employer again. Of course, please here we can look around ACAS is the organization arbitration services, and they gave the code of conduct, that's further can be consult. The consultation is very important, which we can, and we have the garden leave to give to the workers. We want to be make it redundant. If your employer making up to 90 redundancy, that there is a no rule about how should carried out the consultation. If there are a 20 or more redundancy and not the same time, and they are collective redundancies, rule applies. Again, we need to be look around the 20 to 98 residencies in 30 days before any dismissal. If it's 100 or more, 45 days garden leave you have to give, before you making the people redundant. Unlawful wrong and dismissal, as we discussed about ACAS, is called advisory conciliation and arbitration services. So please good to be that can assist you and try to negotiate. And they help consistently investigation inform put their cases a completion a
He broke the egg.
Ah, you broke the egg. You see?
And mixed
Wow, you mix it also. Ah, go make it. Go to mama and make it.